Ciryl Gane just destroyed Sergey Spivak with ease, TKOing him in the second round, and I cannot get over the fact that I changed my pick last second, and I'm honestly pissed off that I just didn't stick with my original pick. Because for all the same reasons as to why I was originally picking Ciryl Gane that actually came to fruition, I just fucking... Oh my gosh, it honestly pains me to say it, man. I went with the plodster, all right? I went with the plodster. Fuck, man. This is really rough, bro, but I'm just going to give the breakdown right now. Sergey Spivak was just too plotty to get it done. He was too plotty to get it done. He was shooting, bending down at the waistline. No finesse whatsoever. John Jones was able to duck under a punch with beautiful finesse, with light heavyweight speed, and was able to get Ciryl Gane down. A guy like Francis Ngannou posed a threat of nuking Ciryl Gane at any time on the feet, and Gane doesn't think about takedowns in that fight because he's just worried about not getting KO'd. And of course, that opens up the takedown. All Gane had to worry about in this fight was the plotty takedown entries of Sergey Spivak. And because he didn't have anything to worry about on the feet, he did get caught by a couple of hooks at times, but for the most part, he was just so much better than Sergey Spivak on the feet. So he didn't really think too much of the striking of Sergey Spivak. He was able to stuff the takedowns and shuck Sergey Spivak off of him the way in which I thought he was going to shuck John Jones off of him in their fight this past March. It was a really bad pick. I'll be the first one to admit it. It's a bit of a Hail Mary for me. I just saw so many people going with Gane at the last second, and I was thinking to myself, fuck, man. I just feel like an upset's coming. I feel like Sergey Spivak is going to stink it up, but the only thing he stunk up was my prediction rate even further. So I'm a little bit salty, to be honest. It was an absolute masterpiece. I just want to get that out of the way. Gane just put out one of the most beautiful performances I've watched at heavyweight in a long time. But I just couldn't really enjoy it that much because while I'm watching it, I'm just beating myself up over picking against him when I had all the fucking reasons to pick him in the first place, but I just switched up on a dime because you don't want to be wrong on this. You don't want to be getting that pick wrong that everyone is thinking is going to happen. You know what I mean? So fuck, it honestly sucks, but I wish I enjoyed it a little bit more is what I'm saying. I wish I would have just actually sat back and just watched it in a relaxed fashion as a fan, because Gane had so many good moments in this fight, man. I mean, the takedown defense was great, even though Gane hasn't really showed takedown defense in his career. And I mentioned this in my prediction video. Every single time someone has tried to take him down in the past, they've succeeded, which is ultimately why I ended up going with Spivak, because I thought, you know what? Gane hasn't really even proven to be able to stuff takedowns. But there were reasons as to why he was able to stuff Sergey's, and I mentioned that. There was nothing for him to worry about on the feet, and Sergey is a plotty man that's stuck in the mud. One thing that I found to be most impressive about Gane's striking, which is pretty much always on display, is that he doesn't let any openings go to waste. A lot of heavyweights just end up headhunting. You know what I mean? A lot of guys that aren't grapplers for the most part, and there aren't many grapplers in the heavyweight division, they're just trying to land their right hand on your chin to put you away. Any opening that Gane has at any range, he's able to find it, whether it's a leg kick, a roundhouse kick to the body. If you're in the clinch, he's stuffing a takedown. He has you off of him. He's going to make sure to land that knee into that open, exposed part of your body. And that's something that I thought was beautiful from Ciryl Gane, picking Sergey Spivak's whole body apart, a full body beatdown. Again, beautiful performance. And I love those knees to the body, punishing knees to the body. And that's ultimately what led to Spivak getting crumbled, was he couldn't take any more punishment. And his body was just completely broken. And Ciryl Gane looked like that Ciryl that I remember of the past. And to be honest, guys, is Gane getting that much better? I'm sure he's gotten a little bit better. I'm sure he's leveled up just a tiny bit when it comes to the striking, but I still stand by my original takes that Gane is not living a lifestyle that's conducive to becoming a champion. I know it's super weird for you guys to be hearing this from me, a guy that just picked against him, but at the end of the fucking day, bro, Jailton Almeida is a different grappler. Tom Aspinall is a different grappler. And I still think these guys are going to run through Ciryl Gane with ease. Straight up. All right? Jailton Almeida can close the distance like that. All right? And if he gets you on the ground, that is a light heavyweight level of skill. And this guy is straight up putting Khamzat Chimaev-esque type of performances up in both divisions. I think he beat Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane just proved that he can stuff takedowns of a fat oaf. And I just picked the fat oaf, which is why it pains me to even be saying this stuff, because I can't believe I just fucking couldn't stick to my guns and not try to have some fancy schmancy last pick I don't know. You guys get the point. Like, there's nothing I can do to change the fact. I think Jailton Almeida beats him, all right? And you know what? I think that Tom Aspinall beats him too. At the end of the day, I was saying, listen, Gane, he doesn't really have that crazy ability to just knock you out with one punch. And, you know, there's a chance he could because he's a heavyweight, but we still haven't really seen that. I think that Tom Aspinall, given that he's very dangerous on the feet, I think that'll be a similar situation to the Francis Ngannou fight, to where that makes the takedown more, readily available and easier to set up. So I think that Tom Aspinall will be a big issue for Gane on the feet and on the ground in general, and I think he would run through him. We've seen Tom Aspinall run through a guy like Volkov. We've seen Tom Aspinall basically just run through his last opponent on the feet in the first round. I think he could either KO Gane by feinting takedowns, or he could feint a shot on the feet and bring him down and twist him into a pretzel. And there is one guy that I think Gane could beat, and that is Curtis Blaydes, another plodster. I've said this in the past too. I think that Gane would beat the plotty man Blaydes because, number one, Blaydes has a hard time sticking to his game plan and actually committing with takedowns. Number two, he's a plodster. As I just said, he bends over at the waistline as well. I think that's a winnable fight. So if Curtis Blaydes beats Jailton Almeida, that's a good fight for Gane. And I know I just picked a plodster to beat Ciryl Gane, but I genuinely think that Sergey Spivak, if he gets the fight to the ground, has a better chance of finishing you than Curtis Blaydes, who has stunk it up against Volkov, who has stunk it up against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and just doesn't necessarily have that same finishing ability that he did when he got into the UFC. I haven't seen it for some time. I think that that's Gane's best bet. I do not want Gane to fight Tom Aspinall. Not because it wouldn't be a good fight. It would be a great fight. I don't think he deserves a number one contenders fight. I want to see Aspinall and Pavlovich wait until they're fighting for the vacant belt. Pavlovich is now the backup fighter for Jones and Stipe. A backup fighter has literally never stepped in, so I'm pretty sure they're going to make a vacant title when Jones probably retires, and I think they should fight. Gane should fight the winner of Jailton Almeida and Curtis Blaydes. I'm picking Jailton Almeida. I'm sticking to my guns. Fuck last-minute changes in my predictions. Now we're on to something that's going to make me smile. I am so goddamn happy that I've been hyping up Benoit Denis, because he's living up, and he's not only living up to the hype, he's exceeding my expectations. It's not only that he's as entertaining as I said. It's not only the granite chin and his ability to just move forward and impose his will, bite down on the mouthpiece, and eat shots like Tic Tacs, because the biggest shots landed in this fight were haymakers, counter haymakers landed by Thiago Moises that literally had no effect on Benoit Denis. So that chin is just being proven time and time again. But it's his grappling that is 5 times better than I expected. I knew the guy had grappling in his back pocket. We saw his last fight where he submitted the golden egg, the golden prospect Bonfim, but I didn't know it was his bread and butter. And it honestly seemed like that is the most polished part of his game. You know what I mean? Because he still looks a little bit sloppy on the feet, and he gets away with it because he's super tough and he's super powerful and he marches people down and breaks their will. But his grappling looked so goddamn impressive. He was ragdolling Thiago Moises and just broke him with tons of takedowns and just beating the shit out of him up against the fence. And eventually Thiago Moises couldn't take the pressure anymore and just found a way out by shelling up. And Benoit Denis TKO'd this guy, and I was so goddamn happy watching it. Here's my reaction. Kadam's about to step in. Yeah, let's go! Woo! Most entertaining fighter on the roster, maybe, or at least up there. At least up there. Just proved that he can absolutely destroy someone on the ground who's a good grappler in MMA. What a fucking win, dude. I'm so happy I've given this guy hype. He's lived up to the hype, and he's much more skilled than I thought. I knew he had grappling. I did not think it was going to be this crazy, honestly. I did not think he was going to dominate like that on the... And guys, again, what's just most impressive is the fact that his grappling is the mainstay. That is the most polished part of his game. And he's still Drew Dober 2.0 on the feet. A little bit sloppier. He's going to have to fix that up. But he's 27 years old. I mean, this guy is still very, very young. And if we're looking at the guys that he's cutting through right now, the hyped up prospect in Bonfim that also knows how to impose his will and finish people, takes him out in the first round. Thiago Moises, in his prime right now, may not be a ranked guy, but right outside of the rankings, and has also had fights with guys like Makhachev, in which he's brought Makhachev 4 rounds and he's been able to slow it down a little bit. That's how Thiago Moises likes to fight. He likes to slow things down and have slow grappling exchanges. He doesn't like a war. And Benoit St. Denis just said, fuck all of that. I'm going right after this guy, and I'm going to test that grappling. And he ragdolled him and cut through him like butter in 2 rounds. Broke him. Completely broke the guy. Makhachev didn't do that, and Makhachev wasn't fighting prime Thiago Moises. I know that sounds crazy to say prime Thiago Moises, but you get the point. This is a better version of Thiago Moises that was probably supposed to go out here and beat Benoit St. Denis because he has a lot more experience in the UFC. But the 27-year-old Benoit St. Denis gets it done, destroying Thiago Moises on the ground, still proving that he's got the granite chin. And again, I said this on live stream, in the future, people now have to be respecting of his ground game because of what he just did to a grappler who has experience in the lightweight division. That's going to allow him to be even more successful on the feet, where he's already a marauder, where he already has a granite chin, where he can eat your shot like a tic-tac, and he has a lot of power in his hands. Benoit St. Denis right now is my favorite fighter on the come-up. He is my favorite prospect by far. He's extremely entertaining. I think he is going to be ranked. It's too early to say if this guy's ever going to be like a top 5 guy, but the grappling was so much better than I thought. I just thought it was something that he had on the side. You know, he's going to have enough of a grappling base to be able to get up to his feet every now and then and stuff takedowns. He got taken down once, he got right back up to his feet, but he was the one that was dominating the grappler. And again, typical Benoit St. Denis, moving forward, putting his chin on the firing line, taking a shot to give one of his own, and that beautiful body kick that I have to mention, that is the typical Benoit St. Denis weapon that he'll open up in his fights with. If there's anyone that you guys need to watch moving forward, it's this guy, and I'm glad that he's living up to the hype. France has a future star. Ciryl Gane getting it done. Benoit St. Denis getting it done. As far as the rest of the card goes, I feel like they gave a bunch of cans to the French fighters. Like Sergey Spivak, of course. But no, like Zucchini, there's this Italian guy that they gave to one of the Frenchmen, and he had the shortest arms I've ever seen in my entire life. The worst case of T-Rex arms in human history, which was crazy to look at. And again, like this Irishman, Loughran, that fought Lapalus or whatever, he looked terrible. They're just feeding these French guys cans for the most part, but I'm happy that Benoit St. Denis actually took out a killer. And not a killer. I mean, it's Thiago Moises. Thiago Moises isn't an absolute killer, but it's a good win. The way he beat Thiago Moises is very impressive. You know what I mean? It's not just beating him. It's the way he beat him. And Ciryl Gane putting on a masterclass in front of his hometown, in front of his home country. Rose Namajunas and Manon Fiorot, honestly, I thought it was a bit boring. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds. Rose didn't look so good early on. She had adversity. She broke her finger. She toughed it out. She looked better as the fight progressed, but she still wasn't enough to get over the heap, which was getting around the range and the reach of Manon Fiorot. Overall, great card. The France crowd is undefeated. The best crowd in combat sports. The best crowd I've ever seen in my entire life. And I was saying this going into this fight night. It's better that Ciryl Gane wins. Yes, I'll be salty about getting my pick wrong, but in general, for the sport, it's better that he wins. He's a bigger star. Sergey Spivak, for the most part, is boring. And Gane definitely looked good. And Gane proved that he can stuff takedowns from a plodster. I just still don't think he'll stuff takedowns from people like Jailton Almeida or Tom Aspinall. And I don't think he's going to get that much better with his grappling. I still don't think he's going to be champ, but man, I do have to admit it, and I'm not taking anything away from him. That performance was legendary. But don't try to act like I didn't say Gane had a chance. That's another thing that I'm fucking, like, I'm just a little bit... You know what? I get it. You can clown me for getting the pick wrong. I know I'm coping. You can clown me 100%. It's all good. Don't even try to act like I wasn't giving Gane a chance. Don't even try to act like I didn't know Someone was like, you should have studied the footwork of Gane. I know, bro. I know. I just fucking went for a Hail Mary, and it was a stupid, stupid pick. I could not... give that performance any more credit. I mean, it was a beautiful performance from Gane. At this point, I'm just riffing. Beautiful performance from Gane. Literally a masterclass. I wish I enjoyed it a little bit more. Until next time. What is up, guys? It's Lucas Tracy MMA here, and I want to let you guys know that I have something for you, and that's a real food cookbook. Because if you're walking around looking like Chris Dawkins, you got to get that weight off. I don't know if you think you're DC or something, but most people usually don't perform at their best when they're walking around with 30% body fat. So if you're trying to lean out and you still want to eat good, tasty comfort foods, well, you could check out my Real Food Cookbook, because I've made it a purpose to have good, tasty foods that you can still eat just without all the processed bullshit, without all the processed ingredients like soy and seed oils. So guys, check out the Real Food Cookbook. Use code MMA for 30% off. The link is in my description. Don't forget that discount.